FIL-07, the Kestrel transmissions. Camp Kestrel, Brunt Ice Shelf, British Antarctic Territory, Austral Winter 1968. The materials in this file were retrieved from the records of the British Antarctic Survey, with supplementary documents drawn from the Polar Archives at the Scott Polar Research Institute, Cambridge. The case is registered under the survey's internal designation Kestrel 68 and was withdrawn from public access in 1971 by request of the survey's director, with the concurrence of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. The case concerns the British Antarctic Survey's advanced station designated Camp Kestrel, a two-man forward post located approximately 23 kilometers south of the main Halley Research Station on the Brunt Ice Shelf. The station was activated in February of 1968 for the purpose of glaciological monitoring and ornithological observation of a small emperor penguin colony to its east. It was overwintered in accordance with survey protocol by two men. It was relieved on the 17th of November, 1968. The relief party found one man dead, one man missing, and the camp's communications log, photographic darkroom, and personal effects substantially intact. This is what the camp recorded. The two men. Dr. Edmund Lee, glaciologist, was 34 years old at the commencement of the overwinter. He had taken his doctorate at Aberdeen in 1962 and had served two previous Antarctic seasons at the Halley Station. He was unmarried. He kept a personal journal in addition to his scientific log. Both have been preserved. David Ashby, radio operator and general assistant, was 26. He had served 3 years with the Royal Signals before joining the survey. He was, according to his selection report, an unusually quiet young man of equable temperament with no observable disposition toward solitude or its opposite. He kept no personal journal that has been recovered. The two men were dropped at Camp Kestrel by tracked vehicle on the 18th of February, 1968. They radioed their first situation report at 2100 hours that evening. They reported the camp intact, the generator operational, the meteorological apparatus calibrated, the photographic darkroom dry, and supplies sufficient for 270 days. They sounded, in the words of the Halley duty officer's log, in good spirits and looking forward to the night. The first photograph, from Dr. Lee's scientific log, the 8th of June, 1968, 12 days into the polar night. Penguin colony observation. Second routine pass of the season. Use the Mamiya plate camera with the magnesium ribbon flash. 6 exposures. Air temperature minus 38 degrees centigrade. The colony was, I should note, smaller than the count I conducted in late February, by a margin of perhaps 11%. But the loss is within the margin of attrition expected for a winter of this severity. Return to camp. Develop the plates in the darkroom. 5 plates are correctly exposed and contain nothing of note. The 6th plate contains a figure in the rear of the colony, perhaps 20 meters from the camera, which is not an emperor penguin. The figure is too small. The figure is the wrong color. It is pale, almost white, against the darker backs of the birds. The figure is not standing in the manner of a bird. It is seated, in a margin in pencil, in a hand which Lee's previous logs do not display. He has added, I will not photograph the colony again until I am better. 3A, the communications log. From Camp Kestrel's outbound radio log, the 11th of June, 1968, kept in Ashby's hand, 2100 hours. Halley acknowledges. Routine traffic. Nothing to report. 2103, anomalous signal received on the 8 megacycle band. Voice traffic, female, possibly a child. Halley negative on traffic from this transmitter. Inquired with Halley. Halley confirms no female personnel within range. No other British station on this band at this hour. 2114. Anomalous signal still present. Volume has increased. Cannot resolve content. Carrier wave is not consistent with any known service. 2126. Carrier wave terminated. Final transmission prior to silence. Humming, melodic, child's register, approximately 11 seconds in duration. The Halley duty officer for the night of the 11th, Petty Officer Marcus Cribbs, made a corresponding entry in his own log. Halley received nothing on the 8 megacycle band on the night in question. Halley confirms only Ashby's outbound traffic and a long unbroken open carrier from Camp Kestrel which began at 2114 and continued intermittently until the end of Ashby's shift at 2300. During that period, Cribbs reports, he believed he could hear, beneath the static, the sound of two men in a small room, speaking very quietly to each other, in a tone he could not later describe except by saying that the two men did not appear to be speaking to each other at all. IV. The second photograph. Dr. Lee resumed photographic observation of the penguin colony on the 22nd of June, against the instruction he had given himself in the margin of his earlier log. From the relevant entry, 8 exposures. The colony has reduced again by a further 9%, which is not consistent with anything in the literature on emperor mortality during overwinter. Returned to camp, developed the plates. In every plate, the figure is present in the colony. In every plate, the figure is closer to the camera than in the previous plate. The figure is, by my estimation from the 8th plate, now within 4 meters of the position from which I exposed. In the 8th plate, the figure is facing the camera. The figure is not, I will state for the record, an emperor penguin. The figure is not a member of any species I am professionally qualified to identify. The figure is a small carved object resembling a doll. The figure has eyes. The interior days, Camp Kestrel's situation reports to Halley. In the period from the 23rd of June to the 11th of July, became progressively shorter. Ashby filed them. Lee ceased to be heard on the radio. From the 29th of June, Ashby's reports omitted the customary closing phrase, both in good spirits. On the 3rd of July, in his outbound log, Ashby wrote, Halley should be advised that Dr. Lee is unwell. He has not left his bunk since Tuesday last. He is not feverish. He does not require medical extraction at this time. He has asked me to record the following statement and to retain it with the camp's documents. The statement reads as follows. I am not unwell. I am attentive. There is a difference, and I would like the difference to be recorded. The colony is not the only place she has been. She is in the camp. I have not seen her enter. I have not seen her in any room I have entered. I have, however, observed that the door of the photographic darkroom is, on 6 consecutive evenings now, ajar in the morning, having been closed by me the night before, and that the dust on the floor of the darkroom is disturbed in a pattern consistent with a small object having been seated, then dragged. Ashby, I would ask you, when you next take down a transmission to Halley, to mention this in passing. End of statement. Halley, please acknowledge. Halley acknowledged. Halley's response, recorded in their own outbound log, suggested that both men should remain in the camp, that medical extraction would be considered if requested, and that the relief party was scheduled for the 17th of November in any event. The response was logged at Camp Kestrel by Ashby. Ashby did not reply. VI. The final transmission at 00:43 hours on the 12th of July 1968. Halley received a transmission from Camp Kestrel on the 4 megacycle emergency band. The transmission was made in clear, without code or call sign, in Ashby's voice. The transmission was recorded in accordance with standing protocol on a magnetic tape recorder at the Halley station. The tape has been preserved. The transmission in full. Halley Kestrel. She walked in. Through the door without opening it. Dr. Lee is in his bunk. Dr. Lee is not moving. I am at the radio. I am at the radio. I am not certain how long I have been at the radio. There is a humming. Halley, there is a humming. The humming is in the room with me. The humming is not on the transmitter. I want to be clear on that point. The humming is in the room. She is between me and the door. Halley. She has not come closer. She is between me and the door, and she is sitting down. She has been sitting down for what I now believe to have been a considerable period of time. I cannot recall when she sat down. I cannot recall what I have been doing in the time since. Halley. I am going to put the microphone down. I am going to walk to the door. I am going to walk past her. The transmission terminated at 00:46. The carrier wave continued for a further 11 hours, on which is recorded a low, sustained humming, in a frequency consistent with a child's voice, and an intermittent sound which the Halley duty officer at the time described, in his log, as the small noises a wooden floor makes when something very light is moving across it. 7. The relief. The relief expedition reached Camp Kestrel on the 17th of November 1968 at 15:40 hours Austral Spring. The camp was visible at 3 kilometers distance. The generator was running. A light was burning in the radio room. The expedition leader, Dr. Patrick Cunliffe, made the following entries in the inspection report. The entries are reproduced in his own hand, on survey letterhead, and bear his counter-signature on each page. Outer hut. Door closed, not locked. Snow undisturbed at threshold for what I estimate is several months. No tracks of any description. Common room, heated, tidy, tea things on the table. The tea in the cups is not frozen, despite the fact that the camp's external temperature stands at -26 and the common room stove is not lit. I will not advance an explanation. I have caused photographs to be taken. Radio room, David Ashby's outdoor parka is on the hook. His boots are by the door. His gloves are folded on the table beside the transmitter. The transmitter is on. The frequency is open and silent. Mr. Ashby is not in the camp. He is not in any of the outbuildings. He is not in any of the surrounding survey lines we have searched. There are no tracks. There are no tracks of any description anywhere within the camp's perimeter, in snow which has not been disturbed since at least August. Bunk room, Dr. Edmund Lee is in his bunk. He is fully clothed. He is not breathing. He is, by my best non-medical estimation, not recently deceased. His eyes are open. His expression is, I will write the word and I will not amend it. Attentive, on the floor of the bunk room, beside the door, seated upright and facing Dr. Lee, is a small wooden carved figure of a kind which I am unable to identify. The wood is pale, the eyes are of a dark glass. The figure is, by every measurable property, simply a doll. I have caused her to be photographed in situ. I have not caused her to be moved. I am writing this report at the table in the common room. The figure is in the room behind me. I would prefer, on the whole, not to turn around again until the report is finished. The evacuation. Dr. Lee's body was returned to Halle, and from there to the United Kingdom for post-mortem examination. The cause of death was recorded as circulatory failure, etiology undetermined, no indication of foul play. He was 34 years old. David Ashby was not recovered. He was placed on the survey's missing personnel register on the 18th of November, 1968. He has not been located in the 58 years since. Camp Kestrel was closed by survey order on the 20th of November, 1968. The camp was not reopened. The structures were partially demolished by the survey's cleanup team in 1972, and the remaining materials were buried beneath the ice of the Brunt Shelf at a coordinate which has, owing to the natural drift of the shelf, since been lost. The wooden figure, photographed in situ in the bunk room by Dr. Cunliffe, was packaged and returned, with the rest of the camp's recoverable materials, to the Scott Polar Research Institute. The figure does not appear on the inventory received at Cambridge. The crate in which she had been packed arrived sealed, intact, and empty. The Halle emergency band tape from the night of the 12th of July, 1968, was duplicated to a master archive copy in 1989. The original tape is held at the British Antarctic Survey. The duplicate is held at the Scott Polar Research Institute. Both tapes have been examined in the years since by a small number of researchers operating under restricted access. In each subsequent examination, the carrier wave is shorter than it was at the previous examination. The humming, when present, is at the end of the recording. The humming in the most recent examination is no longer humming. The humming on a single playback in March of 2019 contained, in the final 90 seconds before the carrier closed, a single quiet phrase, in a child's voice, repeated 3 times. It's warm in here now. This concludes File 07.